morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. No, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. He's around somewhere, looking like Igwe himself. Igwe, come on!
What are you? You have to understand that the things that are happening in this Nigeria, it isn't easy. You know, it isn't easy at all. Yeah. So don't. I needed to make some very important yes, phone call to deal with all the
things that are happening.
Things that are happening all over the place.
Welcome, Igwe.
Thank you. I will call you later. Thank you. Yeah. You know, because my people are in the River State too, so all the things that are happening is very, you know,
disturbing.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
I know.
Not to disturb.
Oh,
it is
sorry.
Very interesting.
Sorry.
We are not disturbed.
Okay.
You know, it depends on the person that is involved. One person might say this matter is anti-constitutional. By the way, I'm Alero. Oh, yes. I'm Ayo Makinde, Igwe 1 of Shana's Television. Thank you very much.
Oh, Shana.
Shana's Television.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Thank you for joining us. I hope you had a wonderful week. And
they had a wonderful week. That is why they are seated in front of a television to be watching us now.
You know, they say there was one musician in those days called Tony 1 Week.
Yes.
And I actually asked him why he was called 1 week. And he said when he was little, he was so troublesome that his mother gave his nickname. The mother gave him was
1 week, 1 trouble.
1 week, 1 trouble. But in Nigeria, it is 1 day, 1 trouble.
No. I think we should just understand it, Alero. There are things. Okay, so one of the people I think we interviewed in the course of time said there's a possibility that the president has some information that we didn't have.
True.
Or that we don't have, which will inform some very discomforting decisions. And the person also said, look, the president invited service chiefs, all service chiefs, invited the leadership of the National Assembly, maybe some, maybe all of them, I don't know. Then he invited the Attorney General of the Federation. And so the question, so they now said, you know, okay, that must have informed the president's
decision to select
go
ahead with
the routes that he went. Of course. So I'm asking, is it that they didn't see the constitutional gap? Because we have had a situation where the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria declared a state of emergency, and the political party of the current president was up in arms.
Yes.
Against the president's decision at the time. So
that's right.
I'm just wondering. Okay.
And in the course of the week, we have even heard clips of his own comments at the time.
Back then, another one that I saw, by the way, it was during the AMPA government. Then Governor Wike was telling Governor Ambode at the time, resist your godfather. It was in the Punch newspaper of that time. So I don't know. I just wanted to, you know, as part of the comments that have been made in the past.
No, but you know that when it affects you, your perspective might shift a little.
When we interviewed Jando, I said, because, you know, he's now in the
APC.
I said, okay.
How far?
On top of all the things that you have to talk about the APC, said, all is fair in war. So we're at war with Lagos State.
You're talking about Jendo. What about El Rufai? I will be in APC until I die.
Even former Governor Wike said the same thing.
It's all right.
I will support anyone that wins in this very vehemently. Anyway, is that all we're talking about this morning?
No. Dangote refineries has said that they're not going to be selling petroleum products in Naira anymore. And what's the implication of that? Apart from the fact that, okay, price of fuel is going to go up again. It's been doing this for a while, but this time it's going to do this.
Well, I'm really at sea on that issue, because even if you were selling at Naira value, it was to the value of the dollar. So if, for instance, the dollar was 1,500 naira and the price of your fuel is $1, I will pay you 1,500 naira.
True.
So I don't understand. Let economists come and give us an understanding of it, because I still pay the dollar value of the naira.
True.
That is the position of the NNPC about this whole naira-dollar swap.
Well, there must be some hidden things that we don't know anything about, which shall become clear as the days go by.
So I would rather skirt the issue, or should I trouser the issue? Okay, anyway, you were saying something.
And then CNG that we've been shouting about, we understand that there is not enough supply, resulting in motorists spending a whole night at the CNG stations waiting to fuel their cars.
You know, Alero, I am not a lover of any government, but I always want to start to look at whatever the issue is from the people perspective. I would say, in my opinion, this is more of a logistic issue than availability. For God's sake, what do we have NLNG for? What do we have all the gas facilities all over the nation
and
for?
We're flaring gas.
And we're flaring gas. So it's not, in my opinion, I don't think it is, because we've been talking about CNG in Nigeria now, the best of my knowledge, for some 10, 20 years. Is it because we don't have the CNG? I don't think so. So let someone come. Even the presidential CNG initiative is also on. Will they now say, because for whatever reason, that no, let them come and explain?
Dr. Kwefa, please send us a message.
Oh, he's NRCU. Sorry. When I say NRC like that, it sounds like something we say in the...
No, he's involved. He's involved.
Well, he's not the president, the chairman of the presidential. Don't come and put something in his pocket.
Igbo.
I'm innocent of all charges.
Oh dear. So what else is going on in Nigeria?
I heard...
The major thing is rivers, as usual.
No, we'll come to that one. I heard that there is such a thing as adult economy of Lagos.
I heard it too. I heard.
Even our economy is adult.
I heard. And it's a very vibrant adult economy.
A 661 billion naira economy.
My dear?
In the oldest profession in the world.
In Lagos. 600 billion in Lagos.
No, please. Don't insult that industry. 661 billion.
Sorry. 660. 61 is on top.
Yes.
Okay.
61
billion ain't small money.
1 billion is... You have 1 billion naira in your pocket. Now, will you be sitting here with me?
I won't be talking to you. Talk to you. You lowly Igwe.
What are you talking? I have to wait for container.
They say that because we are old, we don't go out at night. That
it's a driver that has and see if you know what is going on.
You know what is going on in Lagos at night.
Our mouth was like this.
The babes start getting dressed at about 11 p.m.
By the way, there's a spin-off of that conversation.
Oh.
I would have said what's the word of the day. That escort is the word of the day.
If you think I'm going to tell that story, then you have another think coming. Where is my... Yes.
No, Alero, you have to tell us that story.
Excuse me?
It happened when you were 21.
So
just say it.
No.
Why?
Thank you very much. Shall we keep our secrets?
Because I just asked another young lady.
Who is 25?
Who is 25? I said, do you know the meaning of the word escort? I said,
is it not?
Is that ushering?
Well, okay. So I even did better than you because I was 21.
What did you call it?
Well, I thought it was
chaperone.
Tour guide. I had just finished studying French, so they said, oh, they have foreigners coming in to London, and you can take them around, and because you speak French, if they're foreigners who speak French, you can describe the sights to them in French. Oh, very excited. Okay, go home, I'll tell your big sister, I've got a job. I'm going to be somebody's tour guide. Tour guide, where are you going? Oh, we're taking them around town, and if they're not English speaking, we'll speak to them in French and describe the sights to them, this and that, and the next thing. What did they call this job at the agency? They said escort. And you don't know what that is? Is it not just take people around? Escort them around. I was only 21 at the time. So you will pardon my stupidity.
No, but it's a very innocent one. And there are many people, you know, like Alera when she was 21, and the 25-year-old we spoke with this morning. So please, educate your young ladies, your girls, your whatever, sisters and all. Escort is part of this industry. Escort is one of those things. Services. By the way, who escorted Nigeria to Rwanda?
Anyway, the important thing is that we won.
We won.
We won. That's the most important thing.
We won. Now I can go and watch the match. Me, I'm not ashamed. I can go now. I cannot go and watch my producer is asking what I had this man. I had yogurt. And it's a sweetened one.
And it was not laced.
Hmm?
It was not laced.
No.
Yeah, so we're going to start today's program by looking at how we're going to strengthen our democracy.
Well,
in light of all that's going on, of course, you understand.
World Water Day is part of our conversation this week.
And then AMPA Week is coming soon. 2025 AMPA Week. You know those people who come from the Americas and the Caribbean and Canada? Those doctors, they're coming soon.
With the theme Eyes on the Future, we'll be taking a look at World Optometry Day.
Common workout mistakes in hot weather.
You remember that song? Feeling hot, hot, hot? Yeah.
It's been kind of hot.
It's been kind of hot, yes. And our artist of the week this morning.
Oh dear.
Alera is feeling it already. The most you can say is that it is a he. It is a he who's going to come. Okay.
No, he is a he. Not it is. He is a he.
It's not fight though. You know we are not fighting.
Get it right.
So, Pete, grab your cup of cocoa. Okay.
Well, you got yours down there.
Yeah, I got mine here.
And join us via email or X, whichever you choose, and be part of the program this morning. See you in just a moment when we take the... Political scientists say that responsible leadership is crucial for a functioning democracy and just society. It is believed that leaders must serve their constituents and uphold the rule of law. I'm sure some of you are laughing already. Corruption and abuse of office determine democracy. Undermine democracy, eroding public trust. Holding leaders accountable is paramount for justice, safeguarding democracy, and promoting ethical governance. So all the things we have been seeing, starting from our very process of selecting our leaders, do those things speak of a true democratic society?
I like the first thing you said, responsible leadership. I think it should be, the core of our, because without...
What are you implying?
I'm implying that responsible leadership, maybe it will help us strengthen Nigeria's democracy. Don't look at me with that corner eye. I mean, it's just a thought, and I don't know if our guests will agree with me.
Responsible leadership. Okay.
What's in your script? You said it.
Well, I'm going to ask the guests.
Oh, okay. So I gave you a first question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tony Dania, a legal practitioner, is with us in the studio. Good morning. Good to see you again.
Good morning.
I hope you have dusted your constitution and read it cover to cover. And we have the former chairman of the PDP in Ebonyi State, Mr. Joseph Ono Silas, who joins us virtually. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Mazi Ayo, how are you?
Don't worry. I will wait for the coronation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A lot has been happening, Tony.
Yes.
A lot has been happening, but I will start at where I think is the beginning. The process through which we elect these leaders. Do you think that the way elections, campaigning and elections are run in Nigeria, do you think they will make way for a, what word should I use now? A working and just democracy?
Well, first, you know, democracy was borrowed. We had to practice democracy because the advanced countries are practicing democracy. America is championing democracy. Now, using your word, the beginning, and putting that to the beginning of Nigeria itself. In this your studio, I've had to, with due respect, blame those who style themselves nationalists and the first leaders we have. They have all the opportunities. Most of them were trained abroad. They saw trained, they saw the essence of regular light. They saw a lot of things. If they have introduced it here, the structure would have, a lot of things would have been institutionalized. By now, people will not have moral justification for committing offense, because right now, we have moral justification wrongfully for corrupt practices. Most houses, if you are not rich, they start telling their children, look at your mate.
Well,
Then politics itself, the election process could have been simplified and entrenched in such a way that it will be developing positively. But what we have here, look at the cost of campaigning on the part of a candidate. Look at the belief of the electorate when you are campaigning. Look at the position of the umpire. And look at the cost implications of all this.
Sorry, just something that you said earlier.
Yes.
You said, first of all, let's establish the fact that democracy was borrowed.
Yes.
What's that got to do with anything? We borrowed it since 1979.
Yes.
No. We borrowed it since 1960.
What I'm saying is that, Ayo, before the advent of democracy, what was the system of governance? You know, we had colonialism. Nigeria was prepared. It is just now we are trying to really develop. It is just now that we are trying to improve on our democracy. I'm saying that the four players would have set the ball, would have prepared us for an evolving democracy.
And who are these four players?
The Azikiwes, the Awolowo, the Amadi Bello. This man, Amadi Bello, was respected outside Nigeria. I've seen videos of how he was welcomed and treated. So they saw how democracy was practiced from those we borrowed the democracy from.
No, we didn't even have a choice. I don't know if Mr. Daniel, but if Mr. Ono agreed with you, because it seemed like then we didn't even have a choice, because we had a colonial master who was a monarchy, and we had monarchies traditional, in our own traditional systems, and they used that to some people to form what eventually became known as indirect rule. Now that we've done, democracy since the 50s into the 60s, and up until now, we've undulated between parliamentary system and presidential system. Even now, in this Fourth Republic, we've tried multi-party system. We've tried two-party system. Sorry. We've tried two-party system. We've tried all kinds. And here we are today, and we're still struggling with responsible leadership, to use Alero's words.
Well, thank you very much, Ayo. I also want to appreciate Mr. Daniel for his own opinion. Democracy is a concept, first of all, but it entails a system of governance where the people are the masters. Everything in a democracy is supposed to revolve around the people. That is to say, around the electorate. Can we say today that our democracy in Nigeria is about the electorate? I doubt much. And it is not about the current government. It has been the trend right from 1999. We're thinking that things will get better, but progressively our democracy continued to be about the politicians rather than the people. It is getting worse by the day. So if we talk about strengthening democracy, we need to go back to the very concept of that system of governance. He talked about democracy being borrowed or being foreign. Yes. Every nation is supposed to develop their own democratic governance to adapt it to their local realities. You spoke about the British system, monarchy. It's a monarchical government in the UK, but it's still democratic. The king doesn't run the state. The parliament does, and they are elected. And it is about the people. And you see that the members of parliament are always conscious of what the people, the British people, will say or think in every situation. Today in Nigeria, since our democracy started, you will see that the people don't really matter. What the people think or feel about any government policy plays a secondary role. It doesn't really matter. So can we say our democracy has been strengthened? I will say no. We are still
The question then, Mr. Ono, would be, what would we blame that on? Is it a system thing? Is it our soft infrastructure, our laws, constitution? What exactly would be the reason why democracy, after 25 plus years, no, about 25 years now? 26 years of our democracy, we're still struggling, right, with it. We've done, this is not the first time we're working on democracy. We did it for about a year or less in 1993, or before 1993. We had 4 years in between 79 and 83. So what are we going to blame the fact that it's not strengthened on?
It is institutional. We can't blame individuals.
Because who are the human beings? Mr. Ono, that's like, some will tell you that that's tongue-in-cheek. Who makes institutions?
No, you can't blame individuals, right? If we build institutions that are strong enough to sustain themselves, individuals cannot come and destroy them.
Okay.
I give you an example. We have an INEC that's supposed to be conducting election, right? And every 4 years, we give INEC so much money, they have all kind of stuff, and they'll bring one thing or the other. And then when election comes, they don't conduct the elections. They just give you ballot paper, you go, and they don't rely on the results. Now, INEC fumbles. Another institution is supposed to monitor and ensure that what INEC does is in accordance with law and its own responsibilities. You go there, which is the court. You go to the court, and they simply endorse the nonsense that INEC does. And then nothing happened to the judges. If you complain, they will tell you appeal. Now, the normal joke in Nigeria is after election, they tell you go to court because they know you will lose. So when you lose in court, what else do? Do you go and carry arms and start fighting? The institutions that should strengthen democracy are undermined already. We must reform our judicial system. That is the heart of democracy. That is the heart of democracy. When we reform it and the justice system operates optimally, you will begin to see that politicians who are the individuals now, will behave themselves. If we no longer have a situation where an Ahmed Lawal that was running for president, Ede Bumahi that was running for president, and Akpabio that was running for president, these three people, having lost their bid for president, came back, bamboozled their way with INEC support, did some drama, and went to court and up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, yeah, they were candidates.
Okay.
And today, they all became senators. Two are still in the Senate. One is now out and has become a minister. If we want to run a democracy like this, then I would tell you a military government is even better than what we will be doing.
Oh dear.
Because the military does not pretend to usurp power, to hijack governance. But what we have now are people who claim they are Democrats, but have also stolen power.
Okay.
And have gotten support of institutions that ought to be protecting our democracy.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ono. We've since been joined by Dr. Abiola Oshodi, a former vice chairman of the APC Canada chapter. Good morning, Dr. Oshodi.
Good morning. Thanks for having me in the studio. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Now, we're talking about strengthening Nigeria's democracy. And clearly, in our constitution, it says that there are three arms of government, and each is separate so that we can have checks and balances. There is clearly separation of powers. But in recent times, it has looked like we only have one arm of government. If this is what is happening, how can we then say we have a democracy? The government of the people, for the people, by the people. The people don't seem to feature in any of the calculations of our politicians and our leaders. What are your thoughts?
Thanks so much for that fantastic question. Democracy is often defined, like you said, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But oftentimes we forget that it's also a process. It evolves. So, say for example, the current democratic dispensation that we're practicing was birthed in 1999 after a series of military coup and counter coup. And this is the longest democracy we've ever had. Before now, I think the longest would have been maybe 5 or 6 years before the military comes in. So the military has bastardized the concept of democracy in Nigeria, and only since 1999 have we had a continuous democratic administration, for which we are still struggling. We are still evolving. We are not where we are supposed to be, but we cannot take away those years, during which we have been militarized. So when you look at our democracy as it's currently conceptualized, you see the relics or the mentality of a military in how we select our leaders. A lot of the people that are in power were genuinely voted by the people. And I'll give you an example. I came to contest in 2003 under my party, that's the All Progressive Congress, APC. And when I went to, for the House of Representatives, our federal constituency, and then when I was meeting the elders, they kept asking me, who do I know in Abuja? Who do I know in Abuja? Initially, I ignored the questions. But when 2-3 respected elders ask you that question, then you have to start thinking, oh, what do they mean? Then I ask some people that, what are they talking about? I want to represent my constituency. Why do I need to know somebody in Abuja? But over time, I got to understand, that Abuja controls a lot of positions, be it the governor, be it the senator, be it the House of Rep. And that's why when you get there, you still have to belong to certain leadership cadre that will be, say, for example, assuming that I got elected then, though I lost the primaries anyway, just to finish that part of conversation. But even if I had won the primary and went ahead and win the general election, then I cannot operate in isolation. I still have to belong to certain power blocks. And many of these people are selected, not necessarily elected. Selected by the powers that be and presented to the people that, okay, you have to vote for this person.
Is that then an excuse, Dr. Shodi, to say that, okay, maybe I can put it this way. Are we then saying that Nigeria's democracy is going to remain weak forever?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just giving you an analogy because
I understand the point, because the essence of this conversation really is to look for solutions, to look for ways, because I'm always concerned, honestly, about the future. The young people that are already disillusioned. Get online now. Get on X, for instance. There is an ongoing 30 days rant challenge. People are going to come on air, on TV, on the platform, with their phones, rant for 30 straight days. And one of them I saw yesterday, was talking about the fact that, hey, 1,000 naira is all I have for brunch, breakfast and lunch. And she was having it at 12:30, 1,000 naira. And guess what she was having? Puff puff with a soft drink. That's all she said. I don't know of any other. Now, and this, take it or leave it. As Alera said, the first thing she said about responsible leadership. So let's ask ourselves the critical question: what must we do to strengthen our democracy? Because it's about the future. It's about the survival of this country, Nigeria.
A lot actually. A lot can be done. And for me, one of the things that we can do to help strengthen democracy is that we have to reform a lot of our electoral laws. For democracy to strive, there has to be virile, potent opposition. Let's forget about the ruling party for 1 minute. Let's say we even want to vote out the ruling party today. Which party in the opposition do you think has the capacity?
Let me take you up on that. There's one of those in the opposition that are with us. So, well, that question is for you, Mr. Onu. Strengthen opposition. And it would seem like the foremost, most consistent political party that we've had since 1999, the PDP, which is supposed to be the strongest opposition in our current democracy, is even opposing itself, so to speak.
Well, politics is happening to PDP, and it's not easy to be out of power for a political party, especially one that held the reins of power for 16 years.
But we can't say that the PDP is not in power, right, Mr. Onu, because PDP has states that it governs.
Yes, and they are governing those states as they ought to, right? But the crisis we're talking about, where PDP, if you refer to PDP as opposition, you're talking about national politics. Because in the states where they govern, they are not oppositions. So because you said opposition, I take it that you're referring to the national politics. And if you allow me to go back to what I earlier said about institutions, and I focus on the judiciary. And yesterday, when they do well, I always make sure to commend them. Because when you commend the judiciary and they continue to do proper things, then our democracy will be strengthened. Yesterday, the Supreme Court delivered a judgment or its decision on the lingering crisis regarding who the National Secretary of the PDP is. And in line with their long-standing position that such leadership tussle is an internal affair of a political party, they said that they cannot interfere. They cannot tell PDP how to administer itself. Then set aside the Court of Appeal and the Enugu State High Court decision that attempted to impose a national secretary on PDP. So you see, because the judiciary at some level is pliable, politicians now go there, undermine democracy. An elected official who is the national secretary of the party was purportedly removed by the zonal caucus of the party, not even national caucus, zonal caucus. They sat down and said they have removed him and have replaced him. And then if you have the power to do what you claim to have done, you don't need court to endorse it. They now carried their decision, rushed to a high court and said, confirm this thing that we did. And then the court, being pliable and under the control of the state government, gave that judgment. And the decision was also upheld by whatever means by the Court of Appeal.
Okay.
If you ask me, it is not enough for the Supreme Court to have saved PDP by retaining its elected national secretary, that is Samuel Anyanwu.
Yeah.
It should be taken further. Setting aside those judgments is not enough. It should be taken further. The judges, especially the High Court judge, who started all this nonsense, should be punished. When you begin to punish judges for such indiscretion, because the judge cannot claim not to know that the Supreme Court will eventually set this decision aside.
Okay.
Because that has been their position all along.
Okay.
And I am certain that lawyers would have told
we've got to move faster. We've got to move faster. Let me come to Mr. Dania. Fortunately, Mr. Dania, you are a lawyer. All these legal things that he's raising, some people have said that the problem with our democracy is the judiciary. These politicians get away with what they get away with because the courts so rule.
Okay.
So, quickly, what reforms do we have to make to ensure that the judiciary is impartial and is effective?
Good. I will answer your question. But first, I don't support the talk about military. You heard what Tayo said, 30 days ranting. There are methods of protesting. Peaceful protest, there are methods of checking the system. You cannot say military is better than democracy. I haven't said that. I said it at the beginning.
No, he said in light of what is going on
it's
now.
Better to have a military. No, yes. I disagree
there's
with
no,
that.
There's no state that calls for the military.
Alero, I agree that I said it here, institutions. The democracy is a system of governance. Now, there are other institutions that will strengthen it, like I've said. If the judiciary are used to some extent to being, pressurized by those who are holding power, until the judiciary is totally independent, and judiciary is not a law, the legislature. People are used to say, you will go here. With due respect, how did Akpabio become
become a senator in the first place?
I mean, this is somebody that have gone to contest, lost for presidency at the primaries, right? And he came back and he succeeded. See, so there are people like this.
What role did the court play in that one?
No. I have told you that until the judiciary is fully independent, and let me quickly, the man from Canada, the man from Canada about judges that gave wrong judgment and all that. It's in the state. It's the state high court. So to some extent, the state government and the party in that state might want to influence it. Let me just quickly round up, please. But let me tell you now that judges who err wrongly, because you can have honest mistake, nobody knows it all. They have a way, the system have a way of punishing them. If your ruling, your judgment is always set aside by the appellate court, people will take note of you. Yeah. You might not get promotion. You go to the Federal High Court, Justice Idris, he's a young judge, but look at the way his promotion was accelerated because he was sound. He was good. I have appeared in his court. His house was burning. They told him he was still sitting. So there are good judges. And I will say that we have not been retarded. There have been some progress. There have been some movement. There have been some improvement.
You've just validated some of the question that I wanted to ask. Because every time we talk about institutions, and that's what the point that I was trying to make with Mr. Onu, every time we talk about institutions, it seems like an institution is just some utopian, high-polluting, independent thing that doesn't have to do with human beings. At the end of the day, institutions are made of people. Individuals are like the cells that make up an institution. So if we are questioning or arguing with institutions, we are definitely
dealing with the persons
involved. But at the core of building an institution will be what some people have called consequence management. And perhaps that also strengthens Dr. Oshody's point about our electoral laws. Do they have enough teeth to hold anyone to account? Do we have laws, not just electoral laws, do we have laws that can sustain the institution? You do the crime, you do the time.
We don't have that, but we will get there. We are evolving, like the man in Canada said. But
sorry, Tony. Is it that the laws are not there or the laws are not being obeyed?
The people that are supposed to manage the law deliberately manipulate the same law to suit their selfish interests. For example, local government, the Supreme Court have ruled on it. Some state government are still negatively exploiting available laws to still take us back to the system where we were. Go to the states. And you know the local government control the states because every politician will want to hold on to the local government. So they'll do everything possible to win, to get the local government on their side. The system will continue, but it will evolve and there will be improvement. I'm in Nigeria, I'm proud to be in Nigeria. I know that things will work out. Don't forget that if you are talking about,
one moment, Dr.
If you are talking about democracy, you cannot isolate democracy for security. You cannot isolate democracy from commercial and economic development.
But at the core of democracy is rule of law.
Rule of law.
Okay, Dr. Oshody.
Yes, thanks so much, for me to come in here. So I'll give you an example. In the last election, 2023, there was a lot of reform. in our electoral laws. And that's when IREV came to be and the drama that occurred after that. And for me, nobody talks about IREV anymore or the need for our legislature to reform that law to make it mandatory for the BVAS machine, to automatically transmit election results to the INEC portal. I think that's the part where we are that's the discussion we're supposed to be having.
Well, that is one. Just a second, Dr. Shede. That's one of the several features in our electoral processes. I guess we'll come to that some other time. Mr. Onu.
Well, Ayo, when we talk about institutions and the people that run this institution, there are two different things. Strengthening institution entails making that institution capable of dealing with individuals who operate within it. I give you an example. We have a federalized judiciary, basically. Even INEC federalized. These two institutions are difficult. The way they are structured makes it difficult to hold anyone accountable. Now, imagine if you have an INEC where every state conduct their election, declare their result, and the national results collated. Not one man in Abuja waiting for a result from 774 local governments. And then they'll tell you the result is still on the way, is in the night. Why can't we localize our elections? Every ward, conduct, announce, and people collect. You don't need to be saying, IREF this, IREF that the Supreme Court will now come and say, whatever is an IREF, doesn't matter. Every ward can conduct their election or local government and give the result. It is easier to monitor and hold people responsible when it is not humongous. It's just like our NEPA.
But that's just one element.
And then you go to the judiciary.
Just a second, Mr. Onu. It's just one of the elements. I don't know if you can hear me. Our electoral process, as Dr. Shede mentioned, and you are corroborating, is just one of several elements in the entire democratic ecosystem of our nation. Well, Mr. Onu, Mr. Daniel was talking about strengthening our democracy, when I mentioned, consequence management, and you just said it now. You yourself said it, that the institutions have to be strong enough to deter individuals from going errant. The institution is made up of people. And the people who are going to hold another person to account are in the same institution. So we have an institution where there are individuals who are complying, and those are the people you are calling the institution. And there are people in the same institution who are going against the institution, and one of them is supposed to checkmate the other.
No, sorry, please.
Just a second, Mr. Onu.
What he's saying is that if we have well-entrenched institution, the individual that will manage the institution will not be able to negatively manipulate.
How do you? My question is, how do we strengthen that institution without people?
No. The people will be there.
That's
but the people will not be able to negatively exploit.
The only way you can do that, Mr. Silas, Mr. Daniel, is through consequence management.
Exactly.
Do we have the system that can deter people through consequences?
I have answered that. We don't for now. It is improving. But I'll give you an example in the US. Look at all that Trump is saying. But you see the courts, they were able to checkmate him. And tell him, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Until we are coming to that by the grace of God, because we have landmark judgment. We have judgment that are even relied upon outside this country. We've had the Sugar Bars case in the past, when we had our democracy in 1979 and all that. So we will get there. I am saying that by the grace of God, we will get there. But let's not isolate certain aspects of the whole polity. Regular light, security, freedom of the, what do you call it,
Press.
independence of the judiciary, proper independence, so that there will be no fear.
We are still saying the same thing, Mr. Ono,
but you know,
Mr. Salah, Mr. Daniel. Yes, Mr. Ono.
Ayo, let me tell you something, and this will shock you. We have 3 arms of government: legislature, judiciary, executive. Sadly, of these 3, the judiciary is the most undemocratic. It's the most undemocratic because the institution that is supposed to hold judges responsible, NJC, is being run by the same judges. So they are judges in their own causes. Nobody holds judges responsible in this country. They hold themselves responsible. Like the former president of MBA, Apata, said, the NJC is just like an old boys club. So you see, the institution needs serious reforms.
Well, we're gonna leave that to you, legal practitioners, to handle your club, as some people will say.
There's a comment from Pastor Law Alpha. The Nigerian political class has annexed the Nigerian political hemisphere, calling the shots, foisting its money politics mentality and orientation based on greed and convoluted, unending driving ambition, ultimately pauperizing the electorate. Pauperizing the electorate, yeah, I know about that one.
Festus Akimboyewa says, just like there's no perfect marriage anywhere, there's no perfect democracy anywhere in the world. Just look at what is happening in Turkey and USA. We need competent and honest politicians who are responsive to the needs of Nigerians. We all need honest and full participation of all Nigerians in voting if we must strengthen our democracy.
Professor Enakena promotes political inclusion by encouraging the participation of marginalized groups, women, youth, and local community leaders in the political process. Establishing local councils or advisory committees can ensure that diverse voices are heard at both state and national levels. Strengthen electoral systems to ensure free, fair, and competitive elections. Independent electoral commissions, voter education campaigns, and robust monitoring can help build trust in the democratic process.
Well, so just last words now, 30 seconds, Mr. Daniel.
My last word would be on what the man in Canada raised. Judiciary. Those are old, that institution. We're not voted, are not voted. But legislation, they are voted. Executive, the head is voted. I think we should consider, because I'm a lawyer, I'm in practice. I know that not less than 25% of all the judges we have are not competent, are not supposed to be judges.
Well,
but they are appointed. I'm telling you, they are appointed based on...
Okay, don't worry. The NJC is going to come for you. Mr. Onu, your final take, 30 seconds.
I would like to say, for our democracy to be strengthened, we must reform the judiciary, and it's a matter of serious urgency. You cannot have the president of Court of Appeal taking charge of the entire legislative cases in Nigeria. The president set up the tribunal and set up the appeal panel for all legislative election petitions.
Okay.
That is dangerous.
Okay.
There is no accountability. Nobody is held responsible.
This is a matter for judicial practitioners such as yourself. We hope we'll be able to do something about it. Dr. Oshodi, 30 seconds.
Thank you. 2 things. One is that we have to give serious consideration to making sure that we legalize independent candidacy in Nigeria's democracy. Nobody talks about that, but it's extremely important.
Well, trust me,
because for me, the oppositions are not serving the platform for providing alternative governance.
Who is always talking about that. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Abiola Oshodi, former Vice Chairman, APC Canada chapter, who joined us via Zoom from Canada. Mr. Joseph Silas Ono, former chairman, PDP Ebonyi State, who joined us via Zoom as well, and Mr. Tony Dania, a legal practitioner who was with us in the studio in Lagos. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I mean, this is only a conversation starter, because we didn't even get to talking about the Constitution at all, and how you lawyers interpret the Constitution.
No, please, judicial officers.
Okay.
Maybe they are blaming judiciary.
The way you interpret the Constitution to suit your clients. we needed to talk about that, but we didn't have time today. We'll do that some other time. Thank you very much for coming and sharing your thoughts with us this morning. Sunrise will return in just a moment
to talk about water. And those of you who are saying Mazi is making you laugh, anyway, we're coming back. Much for joining us. Before we get on the next conversation, let's let you know that there's a live event to which we're taking you. It's happening. It's the 2025 Tony Elumelu Foundation selection announcement, and it's happening right now at the Congress Hall of the Transcorp Hilton in Abuja. This is for our DSTV audience alone. The program continues on other platforms. So if you want to continue with us, you can just switch to YouTube on your smart TV or any other device you have. But to let you know that on DSTV, what you will be seeing any moment from now will be the Tony Elumelu Foundation selection announcement at the Congress Hall, Transcorp Hilton in Abuja. So our next conversation is about the World Water Day, celebrated every 22nd of March since 1993. The World Water Day focuses on the importance of fresh water with special attention on Goal 6 of the UN SDGs, which seeks to ensure water and sanitation for all in the next 5 years. Yeah. When we say 2030, sounds like 2030 is very far away. No, it's just 5 years from now. So across the country, Nigeria is blessed with rivers. Despite this huge endowment of nature, access to potable water remains a problem for the majority of the people. Let's have conversations with this morning, the head of advocacy, policy, and communications of Water Aid Nigeria, Kolawole Banwo. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And happy World Water Day to you all.
So, why is it important for people to understand? Why is it important for us to recognize and set aside a day for World Water Day?
Well, considering that we talk about SDG, actually, it is clear that without water, which is SDG 6, you are hardly going to be unable to achieve all the other SDGs, because water is linked to health, water is linked to education, water is linked to livelihoods. You need water for industry, you need water for domestic use, and like they say, water is life. And with 2.2 billion people globally still struggling to have access to water, safe water. In sub-Saharan Africa, you have about 400 billion still struggling. And in Nigeria, you have about 45.5 million Nigerians who are still struggling to have water close to home. In a situation where you have us losing 65,000 children still to diarrhea before they clock the age of 5 because of poor water sanitation issues in hospitals, where you have only 1 in 10 schools where people have access to basic water, sanitation, and hygiene. You can imagine what that means. And only 1 in 20 health facilities actually have the kind of water they need to deliver proper quality, health quality delivery. It becomes an issue that we need to talk about it, considering that with climate change coming up and several other issues, if we don't pay attention to water, we take it for granted, especially safe water. We're going to be having issues where water, which should be life, will be delivering death because we are not paying attention to people having access. We are not paying attention to the quality of water to make sure it's not containing chemicals that will cause cancer and kidney failure in the next 10, 15 years.
Let's be a little more practical, Mr. Banwo. If you can hear me, my apologies. Let's be a little more practical. The experience that a good number of Nigerians have had about this conversation, the importance of water, and how importantly we consider it, is something else altogether. Growing up in Lagos, on Lagos Island in particular, I remember a time when we sipped water from the public taps. Now, it's either the taps don't exist or they are unsafe. There was a time in the 90s into the early 2000s. Lagos State, for instance, had a very active and virile water corporation organization, Lagos State Water Corporation. You could see their vehicles all over the place, and there was water accessible and available in almost every part of the city. But it would seem like that is not much to talk about now. I happened to ask a governor at some point, one of the former governors now, you know, and we were talking about something, and he said, look, the reason water projects don't really see the light of day much is that the infrastructure that runs them are not seen. And so they are piped under earth and all those things, and people just see some small stuff, and they say that that is the water infrastructure. Because people don't see it, it would seem like they haven't done anything. So how do you, because I would say that this whole conversation about clean water should be something for the state governments. Tell me if I'm wrong. How then do we approach this if the perspective is the way it is?
Thank you very much. Yes, you are very correct. Water is on the concurrent list, and you have water supply at all levels. At the national federal level, you have a federal ministry that should be coordinating, really, supporting with policies, supporting with frameworks, supporting with big projects, like you have water dams that are cross-boundary, cross-states, and all. But when it comes to actually getting clean water to the people, it is primarily the responsibility of state governments. And what we do on World Water Day, which we do in all the states, and we engage all state partners, is to draw their attention to that. What you have said now is the reality. And the reality is that, just like it is with Nigeria and many other things, at a point we stopped planning. Population was increasing, and we have the same facilities. We have the same infrastructure that is meant for 10 million, and we expect it to serve 50 million without investing to expand it. Pipes, networks. We didn't plan well, so we started developing places and breaking pipes that were laid many years ago because we didn't plan it ab initio to say, we are going to be developing this place. We need to ensure that when we are laying pipes, we don't need to destroy the pipes when we are constructing roads. So what happened in a place like Lagos is that some places where I had water, now they need to build roads. The pipes have been broken to make way for the road, to make way for construction of residential places, and the pipes that were laid can therefore not deliver water to the places it is meant to deliver for. So once you don't plan, water is a development issue. Once you don't plan it in that manner with long-term, population increase, population migration, rural-urban shift, you do not plan it well with a proper census in terms of where people are, you will have issues with education, with health. It's like that with every social services, okay? And then, of course, how do you manage the water? Government will tell you, we give you water. But water is not free. You need to invest resources in it. You need to build treatment plants. You need to ensure that you have reagents in the lab to test the quality. You need to pay workers who are making sure water go well so that they can have a meaningful living. You need to train technicians. You need to train chemical engineers. You need to train all these people with modern skills, with up-to-date. So all that requires investment for the water to get to the tap. So when you say you're going to give free water and you're not investing to ensure that that happens, then the water will be very, very erratic, and then at some point it dries up. So when the governor says we are doing our best, people are not seeing it. Once people cannot get water in the taps, no matter what else you do and how much you spend, you are just telling stories. And that's what we say with advocacy and why we commemorate these days. To let government know that what you need to do is to ensure that ultimately the last mile at the government level in the rural, we're talking of rural areas, we're not got to the rural areas. We're still talking about urban centers.
Mr. Banwo,
urban slums, I imagine.
Just a moment, Mr. Banwo, slow down now.
How will they have water?
Hey. Thank you. You are very passionate about this, and it shows. But please give us the whole so that we can ask questions. Right, let me take you back a bit. During COVID, it was wash your hands, wash your hands. And there was some advocacy about states giving us more water so that at least we could wash our hands and stay alive. To your mind, between then and now, has there been noticeable investment in providing water in Nigeria, that is across the states? Potable water, that is.
I'm sorry to say, I cannot say yes. The answer is closer to no. And the reason is because we were in emergency mode. And there's a difference between emergency response and development, okay? Now there's an outbreak and we're all running and panicking.
Yeah.
Which is why we do these days again, to remind government that we don't have to wait for another emergency before we emphasize this thing and do it in a development and a planned way.
Exactly.
In many of our countries,
we've had 5 years.
In this country, 85 to 90% of water supply in homes are what we call self-supply.
Yes.
People dig their own boreholes, or somebody digs a borehole and then get water vendors to buy and sell and deliver to households. Government investment in public utilities to supply water presently is very, very minimal. And the state governments are supposed to be primarily responsible for this. We are not investing enough in water, and that's why we do World Water Day. To remind everyone that we need to be doing this as a deliberate and conscious thing.
How much has Water Day affected the way that Nigerians treat water, to conserve it and stuff like that? Do we understand the need to conserve because there isn't enough?
Yes, World Water Day happens annually, but in between, a lot of advocacy and sensitization goes on. For instance, in water aid, when we engage communities, when we engage students in schools, when we engage people in local communities, we let them know we have what we call water safety plans, where we let people know that ultimately you have a responsibility to treat water well, to ensure that when you have a pipe leaking around you, you report to the authorities so that it is fixed. And you don't leave the tap running unnecessarily when you don't need the water. Because the more water you use, there's what we call unaccounted for water. And that's water that leaks through the system. Nobody actually uses it and nobody pays for it. And the money invested into its production is therefore a waste. So yes, there's a lot of sensitization that goes on with communities, with several CSOs, local NGOs working in communities. You need to conserve water, use it well, and don't do anything that pollutes water, because water polluted from this point can affect people downstream, whether it is a river body, whether it is a well, whatever it is. You need and you have to be responsible for conserving water, protecting the water source to ensure that it is free from pollution and contamination, and then not wasting it as much as possible. That is going on. We are yet to do some data and statistics in terms of how effective it has been and what progress we have made, but I can assure you that that kind of education is going on through our schools, through our WASH development, where we have in many local places where they manage their own local source of water, they educate one another and ensure that water continues to run for them to continue to use as much as is possible.
Mr. Banwo, please help us understand this. There are a whole lot of bodies of water in Nigeria. So how come it is so difficult for us to get water from those sources and purify water from those bodies for domestic use?
Yes, that's why we say we have an economic scarcity of water and not a physical one. The water is available, but it takes investment into resources and infrastructure to extract the water, treat it, store it properly, and then dispense ultimately to the end users. Those require huge capital investments. You need water pumps at several levels. You need pipes that are safe in terms of quality. You need storage facilities that are safe and that will not allow water to be contaminated while being stored. You need the human capital and people who will test this water from source across the travel chain until it is delivered, and from time to time they do the check. That requires investment, and that's what I was saying when I was responding to Ayo the other time. We have not done that investment over a period of time. And so we have this wide gap that now requires huge amounts of money, millions of dollars. And of course, with the economic situation and everything, coming up with that resources, prioritizing it with other challenges have become an issue, and our governments are struggling at federal, at state, and indeed at local levels to do that. So people then take the laws into their hands. People must have water, so they start digging their own boreholes, because groundwater is everywhere and accessible to everyone. All you need to do is be able to dig deep enough to access it. So you have boreholes littered all over the place. And people are extracting water for themselves because the government and the state infrastructure and agencies have failed to do just that, just as you said.
Would you say that the states have adequate water policies?
Yes, quite a number of states have policies, but again, you need to invest money in implementing the policies. A policy tells you, give you a roadmap of where you want to go. There are water policies, there are water laws. Quite a number of states have them, but that has not translated into people having water, even in those states, because then you need to budget appropriately. If you say you will need to expand water facilities for another 100,000 people, 2 million people, it won't happen because you have a policy. You need to find out what you need to do, an implementation strategy, and how much you need. You need to cost your policy and then invest in it systematically, cumulatively over a period before you get the result that the policy intends to deliver.
You know, Mr. Banwo, this whole thing about policies leads me straight to this question of cultural practices that either assist or mitigate against water conservation, water health, water safety in our different communities.
Get that?
Can you hear me?
I heard you, but I didn't quite get the question.
I said that question of policy or no policy leads straight to the question of whether or not we have cultural practices that assist or mitigate against water conservation and water safety in our various communities.
Yes, ideally, under normal circumstances, policies should be context-specific, and they should take into consideration those practices, those realities, and then try to see how you weave it around so that you don't throw away what is working and what is good simply because you are introducing a new policy. So we have cultural practices, we have education practices. I mean, I agree on being taught how to ensure that I don't waste water, just like you talked about taps running in public taps.
I'm actually more interested in the perspective of this conversation on our communities. I mean, cultural practices, I'm talking about in our different cultures, in our traditions that we grew up with over time, in the various communities. I'm not talking about the taps and all those things. I'm talking about how we ensure, whether or not we do, water safety in the local communities, because there are vulnerabilities to unhealthy and unsafe water for drinking is higher than in urban Nigeria, don't you think?
Sorry again, I lost you at the point.
You were talking about the cultural practices in the context of policies, but I'm talking about the cultural practices as a standalone, things that we've done over time, that, you know, it's the way we are as a people. How do those activities, those behavior, act to support healthy water or mitigate against safe drinking water for people?
Yes, there's a linkage. And the reason why I went to the policy level was because I was talking about usually the very participatory and consultative nature of the way you should do policy. But at local levels, we also engage communities. We do what we call water safety plans, which is mainstream into what they already do. For instance, open defecation and its effect on water. You try to end open defecation in a community because you let them realize that open defecation within the community, eventually, because many of them fetch water from the same streams. Animals drink from the same streams. And this water is the only one they have, in some cases, to also use for domestic purpose. Now, these are practices that you can't throw away. But you need to let them see the danger and then work with them to ensure that they then agree to have safe water sources.
It sounds to me,
that are locally developed and locally owned, and then locally managed for safety without exposing themselves to the implication of those negative practices that impact on clean water for them to use.
It sounds to me that you just gave the chairman, the commissioner for local government in every state a job to do, perhaps even starting with the research today. Well, it's a conversation starter again. Hope we didn't even get to talk about so many things. Initiatives at the federal or state levels over the years and how they have promoted the ideals intended for the World Water Day to achieve. But I guess we've hopefully been able to start that conversation and hope that, over time we'll take it on. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Kola Olibanwo is Head of Advocacy, Policy and Communications, Water Aid Nigeria. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. When we return, it's World AMPA Week. Is there such a thing as World AMPA Week? No, it's AMPA Week. We'll be right back.
Of Nigerian physicians in the Americas represents the professional interests of 4,000 odd physicians, dentists, and allied health professionals of Nigerian birth, ethnicity, or empathy in the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean. And they are providing a platform for medical and scientific dialogue on issues of health within North America, the Caribbean, and Africa, pertinent to persons of descent from the Nigerian diaspora. The upcoming 2025 AMPA Week comprises the AMPA Medical Mission and the 31st Annual Convention and Scientific Assembly. This medical mission will take place at Lagos, April 4th to 8th, 2025, followed by the convention, which will take place at Eco Hotel, April 9th to the 12th. Well, to tell us more about it, we have two AMPA members, Dr. Adedeji Adefuye, AMPA 2025 Convention Local Organizing Committee Chair. You are local organizing chair, but you are in America. Okay, no problem. And Dr. Getty Anyanwoke, AMPA President-elect, and she is in Baton Rouge, also in the United States. Good morning, doctors.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for joining us today. Now, Dr. Getty, can you give us a quick overview of the 2025 AMPA Medical Week?
So, a quick review. AMPA, first of all, is Association of the Nigerian Physicians in America. Was incorporated 30 years ago, 1995, mainly for educational, scientific, and charitable purposes. We're a tax-exempt non-profit organization under the Section 501c3 revenue code of the Internal Revenue in the United States. Every year, we do what we call AMPA sponsored medical week. We also have AMPA. We also have other AMPA medical missions, but this one that we come on in April every year is AMPA sponsored. It encompasses not just a medical mission, medicine, surgery, dental, eye surgeries. It also encompassing skills transfer as well as advocacy. So that in a nutshell is what we are coming to Nigeria to do in April. It's going to be done at LUT, Federal Medical Center Ebutemeta, the Indo Eye Clinic in off of Murtala Mohammed Airport Way. We are also collaborating with the Nigeria Health Ministry, Lagos State Government, and Rotary International.
Dr. Adefuye, why was Lagos chosen as the host city for this medical event?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It took some time for us to be able to agree. This is actually will be the second convention we're going to be having in Nigeria. We previously had one in Abuja. So this is going to be the 30th anniversary, and we thought that it would make sense for us to come and do this in Nigeria. And a lot of factors were actually put in place before we arrived in Lagos. One is the availability of facilities, what our target audience will be, and a big part of what this convention will do is actually trying to collaborate with various stakeholders, particularly in establishment and funding of healthcare. For that reason, we thought that Lagos would be the best place to be able to do this. And you did mention the fact that I'm in the United States, and I'm the chair of the local organizing committee. Yes, I'm a Lagosian at heart, and yeah, I'm in Lagos a lot of times. So I'm not a physician that actually stays just in the US. I have very large connections and networks in Lagos in particular and all over Nigeria. And that's why I'm actually chairing this organizing committee.
Okay. Madam President-elect, how does AMPA, how do AMPA activities align with the broader health goals of the state, the nation?
So right now, we know that the Lagos state government and in fact the federal government of Nigeria is trying to increase the capacity of healthcare professionals in Nigeria. And so our mission that we come to Nigeria every year properly aligns with this, because what it does is, instead of us looking at those of us that have gone abroad as, people that have jackpot, we're actually jackpot back to Nigeria, bringing the knowledge, the skills that we have learned to benefit our own people in Nigeria. And remember, I talked about skills transfer and helping to educate the people that are coming behind us, so that it will help to increase the healthcare manpower in the country, in Nigeria. We are also advocating for emergency medical services, which is part of our mission. We bring the training capacity for stop the bleed, which would happen if somebody had an accident and they are bleeding. We want as many people in Nigeria to understand how to save that person. There is the BLS training, which is basic life skills, to teach people how to help people. If you notice, there's been quite a number of significant people that die suddenly in Nigeria, and when people are there, a lot of times they don't even know what to do to help. And you see people bring their camera out or pouring water on the person. We want to teach them the skills to be able to save people. So in a nutshell, that is what we bring back, and it aligns with the state government and the federal government of Nigeria, increasing healthcare capacity in the country.
Let me stay with you, madam, for a bit and ask about the impact that have been recorded or testimonials from previous AMPA weeks. And maybe that is some kind of impetus for sustaining it over the years.
So I would first of all preface that by saying that AMPA would love a situation where we don't need to come and do medical mission in Nigeria. But at this point, we felt that we do have to come to Nigeria to help, in as much as we know we cannot solve all the problems. There has been a lot of testimonials. When AMPA comes, AMPA does surgeries. We do from neurosurgery, cardiothoracic surgery. We do gynecological surgeries. I mean, I've seen a lot of testimonials and people that maybe could not afford that surgery and have waited for years. They do eniographies. I have seen young people with huge breast masses that have been taken out by AMPA. There are people that didn't even know they had high blood pressure. They didn't know they had diabetes. And just think about it. A lot of people, thousands of people every single year that is being positively impacted. And when you positively impact somebody, you've impacted that family and helped them out where it concerns their healthcare. Some of these surgeries would cost millions of naira, and a lot of times AMPA does it for free. So there are a lot of testimonials from our people. Thank you.
Dr. Adefuye,
if I can actually add to that, because I want to make sure this is actually complete. It's not just the patients who benefit from this. all the things that we do, we actually do in collaboration with our colleagues in Nigeria. We recognize the fact that, for example, if you come to conduct surgeries, you're going to finish the surgery, you're going to pack your bags and leave, but the aftercare for surgeries is extremely important. So part of this is actually also knowledge and technical transfer to ensure that our colleagues who are in Nigeria, who probably hasn't done such surgeries before, had the opportunity to be part of conducting the surgery, are the ones who actually will also take over the management of those patients after the mission actually leaves. In many instances, the instruments that are actually used for these surgeries are not available in Nigeria. Centers where we conduct such surgeries, those instruments are actually left as donation to those centers, so that in a way, it's not just the patients alone who benefit. The healthcare, infrastructure industry, and those who are collaborators also benefit from such missions.
And that's quite instructive. I was waiting to hear something like that, which is why I wanted you to also speak to it. So, how about and this, you may want to expatiate on what you just said now about the benefits to help medical practitioners with this question that I'm asking you. So, in your own opinion, resident in Nigeria or being brought in, what measures would you say are in place to ensure that this medical mission provides sustainable healthcare solutions rather than just short-term aid, beside, the infrastructure that usually bring in and live here?
I'll tell you that the AMPA mission is just one of several things that we do. And over the years, I've had the opportunity to be part of several teams, and the emergency preparedness plan for the federal government of Nigeria, working with actually diaspora desk in Abuja. I think Dr. Abike Dabiri is actually the one who mans the desk. We've actually had collaborations with them for very many years, and she actually attends virtually every AMPA meeting in the US. So we contribute beyond just coming for AMPA mission. We conduct several workshops, orthopedic workshops, ophthalmology workshops. We were talking about stop the bleed. We have also conducted workshops on what is it again that Dr. Asonye actually does? Helping babies breathe. We do know that in Nigeria, we have probably the highest infant and maternal mortality rates in the whole world. And this particular, is actually focused on helping those, even at the lowest level of healthcare delivery, the primary care providers who actually deliver babies, to be able to equip them with the simplest ways of ensuring that when women actually give birth to babies, those babies actually have a chance at life. And this is not only done just at the primary centers. Part of it is establishing that people understand the limits of what the knowledge will take them, and that they actually take action immediately if they need to transfer to secondary or or tertiary centers. So we have all these workshops that actually happen all year round, just beyond the AMPA week. In addition to that, I think the president-elect mentioned AMPA sponsored. We also have other medical missions that are done across Nigeria. For example, if there is a need in a particular state and an AMPA member raises his hand and says, you know what, I want to go to that state to conduct a medical mission, that person has the responsibility of being able to assemble a team. The only thing AMPA does is to ensure that quality is at the center of everything that is going to be done. Such missions are called AMPA certified missions.
Okay.
That is different from the AMPA sponsored mission.
Okay. Now, President-elect, after the AMPA week, how does AMPA ensure that the mission, the goal of the mission is sustained all through before the next mission comes the following year?
Thank you so much for that question. Like Dr. Adefuye just said, we do AMPA-sponsored missions, they also do AMPA certified missions, which are different, multiple missions, more than a dozen in addition to the AMPA sponsored mission.
Okay.
So our vision is for a healthier Nigeria in a healthier world. We try our best to make sure that wherever we go, because each year we pick a different area, a different state, wherever we go, we are impacting and transferring knowledge to last for a lifetime. Like I said before, AMPA would prefer not to do medical mission that is not needed, but at this time it is necessary. We would like a situation where we are in the country always and chipping away and trying to help more, but unfortunately we cannot be, except in these versions of the sponsored mission and the certified mission. We also do a lot of education to help continue whatever it is that we do on the ground. And that is the transfer of skills. Because we want to identify, we want to stimulate the interests of our colleagues in other areas where medicine is going more technological. We are also doing advocacy on health issues, trying to get the government to make policies, health policies that would help better the lives of Nigeria. Again, it goes in agreement with our vision of a healthier Nigeria in a healthier world.
You know, we're winding down now. So, Dr. Adefuye, as part of the organizing, please give us the details again and what you want people to know, what you want the people themselves to do. Who are the people that are most likely to benefit from this mission project that you're on this time around?
Yes, we have the mission from the 4th to the 8th, and that is that we've conducted at LUT, the teaching hospital, there the Federal Technical Medical Center in Ebute-Metta. That is going to be focused on healthcare delivery, and most of those who are going to benefit from those are the patients, and also the practitioners as part of transferring knowledge and skills. Then the convention proper itself starts on the 10th and it goes through the 12th. And we do understand one thing, that in Nigeria, a large percentage of healthcare delivery is still performed by private entities in Nigeria. It is towards this that we have actually collaborated with the Guild of Medical Directors in Nigeria, so that they actually can be part of the discourse, because what we really want to do, a critical part of being able to deliver proper healthcare in Nigeria is healthcare funding. Okay. And let's just face it, unless we don't want to face it, that's the truth. And for that reason, there are going to be several presidential panels. And we are bringing all the stakeholders in this area, the physicians, the bankers, other agencies who actually could contribute into funding and developing healthcare infrastructure in Nigeria. So that is that.
Okay.
So those presidential panels will address that. Then there is also the scientific portion, which actually grants continuing medical education credits to those who attend. So the scientific portion is there, and all those who actually attend who need to have CMEs will receive those CMEs. And it is actually for that reason that we're targeting not just the guild, we're targeting resident doctors, we're targeting physicians who work for the different state ministries all across Nigeria, for them to be part of the convention and scientific assembly.
We've run completely out of time now, Dr. Adefuye. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Dr. Adedeji Adefuye is AMPA 2025 Convention Local Organizing Committee Chairman. And we also had Dr. Getty Chiemeka Ayanwoke, who is AMPA President-elect, both of whom spoke to us from the United States. But I'm sure they will be part of the team that is coming to Nigeria next month.
That is correct.
That's correct. Thank you so much for having us.
And we look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Right. So when we come back, We've talked about AMPA. Now we're going to be specific and talk about your eyes, optometry. See you soon.
Common workout mistakes. We could just have stopped there. But in hot weather. So let's have a conversation on that. Common workout mistakes in hot weather. Now, of course, we know that staying active is vital for our health. Working out in the heat has its unique challenges. So if you're not careful, you can put yourselves at a risk of dehydration. Remember we spoke about dehydration last week? I didn't know dehydration was such a big problem.
Well, we heard last week, didn't we?
A thorough one. So risk of dehydration, heat exhaustion, and even more serious complications. So this discussion will highlight some of the frequent errors we all make when exercising in hot weather and provide practical tips to stay safe and maximize performance. Especially if you're an avid runner, a gym goer, or just someone sitting next to me here who enjoys indoor activities. These insights will help you. Please welcome Joel Zamere.
Tennis is not an indoor activity. Thank you very much.
Well, someone just told me that she didn't leave home. She didn't even see the front of her door some days or weeks away. So, but we'll talk about that some other time.
It's looking more and more like I must not tell this man anything. He shares it with the whole world.
No. It's just the person that is watching.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Director of IRF, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We make common mistakes in general.
Yes.
When in workouts, during workouts. What are some of them? We'll talk about the peculiar hot weather shortly.
Yeah.
But the common mistakes, what are some of the common workout mistakes we make as a people generally?
Thank you for having me. The first will be either undertraining or overtraining. And I think you've heard me say that quite often, right? Undertraining or overtraining, wrong technique, which of course will lead to injury.
We're coming back to that first one, but carry on with your list. Carry on.
Of course, doing the wrong program entirely, right, will be also a common mistake. Another mistake will be looking at someone else to determine the intensity or type of workout that you should do. Some of the errors will be that, this is not enough. You think the 20 minutes you've done is either too small or not sufficient. So the list goes on and on, but I know that this is timed. We don't have eternity, so I'll stop there. But those are like the common ones that people can easily relate with.
Okay.
Bordering on.
What is under training? I mean, I take a 30-minute walk in the morning.
Yeah.
How will I determine whether it is too little or too much?
Well, that's great. You just said you take a 30-minute walk in the morning. You've told me something about duration.
Yeah.
You've told me something about the type of exercise.
Yes.
And since I can see you, I then know that is adequate, right?
But you haven't considered the intensity. You also talk about.
No, she said walk.
Brisk
because
walk.
she said walk, so she's either.
Now she have
qualified the
it
walk.
for you.
Wait, remember that this is my own business, right?
Oh, sorry.
Don't forget. This is what I live and breathe, right? So the reason why I paused was because, first of all, I know her. She has a history of being a sports person. So I can, if she tells me I do 30 minutes every morning, I have an idea. Of course, I want to investigate more if I was doing a proper assessment. But 30 minutes, anyone, let me put it this way, who does 30 minutes every day of walking, not strolling, right? They wake up in the morning, they wear the right shoes, and they go out and they walk.
I wish I could just stand up now
and
walk around. And you show me whether it's brick, whether it's
no.
walk
Let me help.
or stroll.
Let me help. So
let me ask you a question.
When you are you are gisting with someone and you're just talking about stuff and you're going somewhere. Maybe you're going to cafeteria or you're going somewhere. You know that you're strolling.
We are walking.
Okay, yes, you are walking. Now, we are saying that in walking, there are different things you can do. You can, walking is you can say, there's almost a way you can say bricks walking, running, walking slowly are all the same thing. Jogging are all the same. So what we're simply trying to do is just to express the intensity.
Somebody who
now
a lion is chasing.
Yes.
Is that person running or jogging?
Come on, how can you call that jogging? That's running. Jogging is like light running, right? It's like just light running, right? And remember, I've told you I recommend walking more than jogging, right? Depending on your body type. So there are people who are jogging right now that they are causing a lot of pain, a lot of havoc to their lower back and their knees.
How about these guys?
So these ones are jogging, as you can see. A run will be that, just put a dog behind them, for instance. You will understand what a run is, right? So what they are doing is jogging. Look at them, look at it. Meaning that some people can even walk pretty fast and walk faster than them. So jogging is what you do for a marathon. You are just going at a slow pace and using oxygen as a form of energy, right? So that is jogging in that sense. So what I was saying, because you asked me the question, she asked me the question. I remember I've always said that exercise is prescriptive, right? So because she has asked me that question, she said, this is what I do every day. I might then say, why don't you increase the number of times you do it? Or I can say, why don't you work towards putting 1 minute or 2 minutes every week, right? Now that's me now trying to
increase the intensity.
Do something to exercise that's very important, which is progressive overload, okay? And that's really the language that the body understands when it comes to exercise. If you only walk 30 minutes every day for the next 6 months, there comes a time between that time, roughly between 2 months, where your body will not have the same effect as it used to have. Do you understand? So when you begin to put a bit more time to that, you are doing what we call progressive overload. Or you increase your intensity by calculating the amount of steps you did for that 30 minutes. You understand? So yes,
6,000 steps.
Good. Now that would be, so you can do something like saying every week I want to add 1,000 steps, or I want to add 500 steps, or even 200 steps. What you will find out over time is that you are doing very well with your exercise. You will have grown really well, and you will see that you are pretty healthy. That you are not what you were every month that you exercised. But the mistake will be that you will stay with 30 minutes and make it as the rule of life. Your body, there's something called adaptability. Your body will get used to that and won't give you the kind of result that you had when you started the program.
Okay.
Some people complain, when I started, I had lost 4 kg, but since that time, I've not lost any other thing. Progressive overload. They are still staying with what they used to do before.
Okay. This will lead me to the next question of the subject matter for the day.
Right.
When someone loses their breath in the process of working out, what's the implication and why?
That's a fantastic question. When someone works out and they lose their breath, it's not a bad thing, actually. It's not a bad thing.
It's not dangerous either?
No. So it depends on how they came about losing the breath, which is what I want to explain. So in exercise, there's something called EPOG, excess post-oxygen exertion.
I thought you said earplug.
Nice one. Excess post-oxygen consumption. Consumption. So that simply means that anytime you exercise, you deplete the oxygen in your blood, right? And what happens is that your body now takes time to replenish that oxygen that you've lost. Do you understand? So when you exercise, especially when you do cardiovascular training, where you require oxygen to perform that exercise, you will definitely have a low amount of oxygen when you're done.
Because you used up what you have.
Yes, because that's why you see that you now begin to pant. When you start exercising, you see that you're okay, your mouth is closed, you're panting you're breathing with your nose. Later on, you have to open your mouth because the oxygen intake and carbon out is low. So you start to do that. It comes to a point where you will have to stop.
Because you're already...
And catch your breath.
Not because you're dizzy, but because you need to catch your breath. Now, let me not go into energy systems, but the way the body is it's designed in such a way that when it needs extra oxygen, it will naturally tell you to stop or to reduce the intensity. So that's why when people are working and they're getting really tired, you see them stop and you see them begin to really take deep breaths. And if you give them a few minutes, they are good to go again.
But you are also now identifying something for someone. I don't know why I asked that question.
Yeah.
Some people feel they are not up to par with other people that they're exercising with because they quote unquote lose their breath or they need to catch their breath a little more frequently than others. So help me advise this fellow.
Okay.
That you're okay.
Yes, you're okay. So the thing with the body is, over time, your body gets stronger. If, for instance, at 30 minutes, you are out of breath, as you continue to exercise, it will become 32 minutes, 35 minutes. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the thing with you not having the same capacity as other people is that everyone is different. And we call it your heart rate, right? So everybody is supposed to, let's say for instance, 3 of us are supposed to train at a particular training zone, right? So there's something called training zone in cardiovascular training anyway. And maybe what we want to do is just to keep fit. So we'll be using about 60% of our maximum heart rate. I think I've calculated that for us here one time, right? That means that based on our age, we all have a maximum exertion rate in our body that we, being health conscious and being safe, we shouldn't exceed. Does that make sense? Now, when you are training, you're supposed to train at a percentage of that maximum heart rate. Now, everybody's maximum heart rate is not the same. So when I get fagged out or when I get tired, it's not when necessarily you get tired.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? So essentially, what you're supposed to have is that when you have someone who is properly trained, he has an IREP certification, the person knows what he's doing, the person will be able to tell you that this is your maximum heart rate and this is the heart rate you should get to.
Okay.
Now, because you have that information, you won't feel bad that you're getting tired at a particular stage when the other person is not getting tired. I don't know if that makes any sense. Second and lastly, it's the rest in between sessions also that helps. A good trainer will know that rest is part of the workout. And so for every training they do, in between those sets, they will create rest periods so that your body can take back oxygen, reduce temperature, bring back energy, and then continue again.
Reduce temperature.
Yes.
Wait, leading me to the question. I told you it will lead me there.
Yeah.
So the body can overheat.
Most definitely. Heat stroke and all those fun stuff you guys have talked about. Of course.
Fun. Fun.
Yeah, well, not fun.
Thank you very much.
So what are some of the signs that people need to pay attention to when the body is overheating?
Fantastic.
I know that cars overheat.
Yeah.
Once the radiator pops, nobody needs to tell you.
But you know there's also something in the car that tells you that, hey, the temperature is going up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called
temperature gauge.
Yeah, gauge. Most of us have that naturally, but we don't listen.
Oh, okay. So how do we notice?
Yes.
How do we realize?
So, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but from what I've read, these are sometimes, you know, one of those very frequent one is headaches. So it's not all the time you have a headache that, you know, a particular drug is the solution. You know, it might be that you've not taken water. Everybody there's a recommended amount of quantity of water that you should take. But you and I know that people only drink water when they are thirsty. So don't let me come for that thing you're drinking, which might not be water.
It is water, thank you very much.
Really? Oh, wow, nice. Good to know. But it tastes, the way you're drinking is like it's coffee though. It's still water, Abi.
Wait till I like make I talk.
Anyway, so there's this recommended, there is the recommended number of water that both male and female should take a day. But what we do is that we don't think about that. We just drink water when we are thirsty or take a cup of water when we want to eat. And then when we are thirsty, we go for soft drinks. And somebody has told us through good advertising that is refreshing. And that will, you know, give you another, you know, a different energy. Anyway.
It is refreshing for the moment. So
yes, refreshing.
Don't spoil my
Meanwhile,
well, refreshing, right, for the moment, which makes you more dehydrated. But let's continue. So
we should drink water when we're thirsty.
Yes, drink water when you're thirsty, essentially.
Okay.
So really, headaches are there. Dizziness, right, is really one that is major. You just begin to feel faint and dizzy.
Is it headaches and dizziness when you are exercising?
No. So this is just generally. Now, when you're exercising and that happens, it's the same symptoms, really.
Okay.
It's not like maybe the symptoms will change. That the point we're saying is that when you exercise also, it can bring about heat stroke if the environment, is pretty hot, because exercise increases body temperature, right? So because exercise increases body temperature, it will lead back to the problem of maybe heat stroke or your body overheating, as you had said, right? So those symptoms of headaches, dizziness, right? Disorientation actually is also another one where you are disoriented. You're supposed to go left, maybe you're doing a workout and then you're going right? Those are some of the signs that you will easily see in an exercise environment, right? And you'll also see outside of an exercise environment, right? So those are, some of the signs. Those are the gauges that you see when you have this heat stroke, as it were.
At the same time, it is extremely important to exercise.
Yes.
To work out.
Yeah.
Now, I expect you would know that it's natural for people to be wary of heat when they have to work out, because they know that there is the risk of your body overheating and heat stroke and all the issues that you have raised. So how do we balance it? Just to also, so by the way, so you are saying that feeling my body temperature is not... What?
That's pretty funny.
I'm asking a question.
Yeah, well.
Alero, come on. I just asked you when you were saying your body is overheating. It's not...
Do you know when your body gets to 40 degrees centigrade? Do you know? With that your tool, that fantastic this tool. It would be impossible. This would just...
No, there is no meter on my hand now.
So it's not possible. So, and the science says at 40 degrees, heat stroke will start. Wow. Yeah. So that's difficult. That's why what we discussed about the signs are better.
Okay.
You feel dizzy. You know what? Prevention is better than cure. Okay. Before you leave your house, check your radiator that it's not leaking and put water. So before you, while you're going to the gym, take enough water with you. Right?
So more water will help.
Yes, more water will help.
So how about just a quick one, because we have just about a minute.
Good.
The balance of working out and managing this excessive heat.
Yeah, so the thing about exercise is that it's a constant. We still eat during the heat. We still do everything we do during the heat. So it's how to manage that. So this is what I'll say. For your warm-up phase in your workout, because it's already hot, at this season, your warm-up phase will be shorter. So if you used to spend about 5 minutes to get your body warmed up, it will reduce to about 3 minutes, right? Secondly is what you wear in the gym. You want to ensure that you have things that, that hair can, go through. Mm-hmm. And you want to ensure that you are in an environment that maybe has some breeze. So you want to check where you are, how many windows are there, is the air conditioning on, or you take that workout outside, right? And then while you're doing your workout, you are watching for not over exercising, as it were. And then your cool down period also, you have to totally ensure that you gradually take your cool down period down. The reason is because in this kind of time, your heart will be racing. And if you abruptly stop your exercise, in this kind of condition, it can have a very bad effect on your liver, your muscles, your brain, your body. So you want to ensure that you take it step by step down, especially when you take your exercise up in intensity. Bring it down gradually. You want to ensure that you're drinking water. So for men, take at least between 3 to 4 liters of water. And then for women, between 2 to 3 liters of water. So you want to ensure that you consume all that. So in the gym, ensure that you're constantly drinking water and you'll be very fine.
So this is a warning really for everyone who's been all about, concerning this heat and everything. Let's help ourselves, because at the end of the day, all we have is all we have. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for
and
having
that for
me.
those common mistakes, we'll probably come back to them some other time.
No problem.
Joel Zamere is director of IREP. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Going back to that World Optometry conversation with Dr. Chibuzo Clement George, who is chairperson Nigerian Optometric Association, as well as Dr. Ezine Ihekwaba, who is chairperson World Optometric Day Committee 2025 and he's also a member of the Nigerian Optometric Association of Rivers State. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Let me begin with you,
Pleasure.
Dr. Yes, let me begin with you, Dr. Clement George. The issue of World Optometry. Help us understand, first of all, why is it important to have World Optometry Day?
Thank you, Ayo, for the question. World Optometry Day is a very important day in the optometry calendar. It runs as a week. It starts from this year it started from the 17th of March and is rounding up on the 23rd of March. On the 23rd of March every year, optometrists all over the world celebrate World Optometry Day. It's a day we want to appreciate ourselves for the work we do. It's a day that the World Council of Optometrists have set out to mark the importance of optometry in the world and what we do, who we are, and a day to create awareness about eye health and issues relating to eye health. Is a day of advocacy to governments, advocacy to institutions, to talk about eye health. This year's World Optometry Day is Eyes to the Future, optometrists promoting global well-being. Or if we domesticate it, we could say optometrists promoting national well-being. So that's the essence of World Optometry Week and World Optometry Day. Really a day of advocacy and a day of enlightenment about eye health.
Okay. At what point should people have their eyes checked? And how often?
Okay. Our eyes should be checked as often as 6 months after birth. After birth, at the time of birth, the eyes should be checked, most times by the pediatrician that is on ground. But 6 months after a child is born, he should have his first eye check to make sure that every necessary part of the eye is functioning normally. We have milestones. We have eye developmental milestones. So at 6 months, we expect the eye to be at a certain level. The medias are through cataract. There's no cataract. There's no corneal opacity, nothing, and is meeting the milestone, and a metroprization is happening. After that, the next time our eyes should be checked is at 2 years. After 2 years, the next time the eyes should be checked is at 4 years, between 4 to 6 years, when the child is entering kindergarten. But in Nigeria, I know we enter at 2 years. Then, after that, the eyes, depending on what the eyes are, what the health of the eyes are, it could be recommended that the child checks the eyes every year, as the case may be, if there's a refractive error or atropia or phoria, things, binocular balancing problem, or 2 years. But by the time we get to 40 years, we should also have another major eye check. At that point, most of us are becoming presbyopic, and other age-related changes are also coming up. So at that point now, it's recommended that the eyes are checked minimum every 2 years, depending on the condition. But if you have other pathologies like glaucoma, age-related macular degenerations, and other pathologies of the eye, then the eyes will be checked more frequently. So minimum 2 years, you should have your eyes checked because things could be happening that you never know, that do not show on the surface, but they are really happening at the back. Thank you.
Dr. Hekwaba, in your practice and as an optometrist, what are the most common conditions that you have seen among adults?
So thank you so much for that question. I will start by saying that the World Health Organization, they have identified 5 major leading causes of visual impairment globally, and they are regularly seen in the clinics. They include uncorrected errors. You have the glaucoma, you have cataract, you have age-related macular degeneration. So, but frequently we're seeing a lot of uncorrected refractive errors. You have children that, a lot of them are developing myopia because of being indoors. When COVID struck, most children were indoors. So regularly we're seeing children, patients that are becoming myopic. And we're also observing the changes in adults whereby because of the frequent use of more and more of digital eye strain, we are seeing dry eye syndrome. We are seeing a whole lot. And those things that WHO is educating the public about, all of that in practice, we see those things regularly.
Madam, let me come back to you. Well, let me stay with you, madam. How and you've actually, both of you have helped to address some other issues. But in terms of importance, Dr. Ihekwaba, in terms of whether or not how importantly we consider, our eyes, do you think, how would you measure the significance we play, the importance we play to our eyes, checking our eyes, giving attention to our eyes, and all of that?
Okay, so in Nigeria, there is this unawareness, so to speak, about the importance of regular eye checks. We are, supposed to be checking our eyes regularly because it is a well-known fact that about 80% of, visual impairment and diseases, eye diseases that lead to blindness, they are not only preventable, they are curable if they are caught early. So that is why we take this opportunity as optometrists while we're celebrating ourselves and our contributions, to eye health in general. We use this period as a time to, create that awareness, public enlightenment campaign to tell the public that you should prioritize your vision, your visual health. Like as we're sitting now, you can testify that some persons watching us right now will not be able to see what we're saying, to even look at the screen, except they are fitted with a proper pair of prescription glasses. So the need for us to, create this awareness and talk more, make it louder for people to prioritize vision care. Every year, like Dr. Chibuzo said, every year you should have your eyes checked. You don't want to wait till there's an announcement or there's something seriously wrong with your vision. So we are out to create that awareness and keep reiterating and telling people that it is so important because those diseases and infections and things that could lead to blindness, if caught early, can be treated, and a lot of them are preventable.
Okay. Dr. Clement George, Dr. Ihekwaba has told us about the most common conditions that you all see among adults. But what about among children?
Okay, Antelero, thank you for that question because I happen to be a pediatric optometrist. Amongst children, we're having a lot of refractive error, and it's becoming more, will I say, it's going to be an epidemic by the year 2050, where it's been globally estimated that half of the world population
Slow down, doctor. Slow down. Refractive error, did you say?
Refractive.
You are going to have to explain that to us. What is a refractive error?
Okay. Refractive error is that your eyes are not of the optimal status. You have something like myopia, you have hyperopia, you have astigmatism, you have presbyopia. They are all part of refractive error. There's an error of refraction in your eyes. You need a pair of glasses that will change the length and the direction of the light into your eyes so that it can focus on the macula instead of focusing either in front or behind the globe. So that's basically what refractive error is all about.
Yes.
So I'm a myope, I'm short-sighted, but as I got older, I also became a presbyope. That's why most of us, after 40 years, we wear glasses.
Okay.
But in children, we're having an upsurge of myopia. It's become a global concern. And because of the use of digital devices, we use digital devices now to teach in schools. We use digital devices at home. You see parents exposing their children as young as 6 months, even 1 year, to their laptop, their phone, because they want to distract the child. And when they do that, they interrupt the process of emmetropization, that's the child becoming normal-sighted. And when this is interrupted, the child ends up becoming short-sighted and goes on to now have a progressive myopia. And progressive myopia has its own challenges, its own complications of having glaucoma at the end of the day, having cataract, having retinal detachment, having some maculopathies, and those and all. So that's the big one that we're having now amongst children, a lot of myopia. And we're using this as a medium of advocacy to parents to watch how the children use these digital devices. They are good, but they also have their own harmful effects. We should limit the use of digital devices after school hours to only 2 hours a day. It shouldn't exceed 2 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And a child that is still emmetropizing, that is below 2 years old, should not be exposed to all these digital devices.
Madam, I'm sorry on that one that you just mentioned. I don't understand though. Maybe you want to talk to the Federal Ministry of Education, because most academic work now, particularly for children, are CBD. They're computer-based. CBTs, computer-based tests, exams, and all those things. And these children's games are also on the same devices, and you're recommending only 2 hours a day. Help me understand.
No. Sorry, Ayo, let me clarify it.
Okay.
After school hours,
okay.
2 hours a day after school hours, because we acknowledge that they are using it in school, and we're saying after school hours, you shouldn't exceed more than 2 hours a day. Like some countries have also started removing some digital devices from school curriculum. Like I was reading, Sweden are taking out, they are going back to the prints. They are going back to the books. So because of excessive use of digital devices, we're also having younger children now coming up with dry eyes. A lot of people are having dry eyes. It wasn't something with us before because we're in the humid environment and our eyes are always like steamed up by the heat. But because of this excessive exposure to digital devices, we're having a lot of dry eye even onto the children now. And then we also have cases of hyperopia where the child is unable to read. The child needs a lot of energy to focus and to read, and that affects their academic performance. It affects their reading. We have astigmatism. I'm an astigmat. That's why my head is always tilted to one side. We have astigmatism where children jump lines. So those are the common things. We have binocular vision anomalies. Some of them have tropias, exotropia, esotropia, phorias.
Madam,
I
think you need to conduct a research. Let's just put it out there on X or on Instagram or whatever. Just put it out there. Our guest is already laughing for the next segment. Just put it out there. Let people tell you which one they feel. Then you will get the real data. Because this thing that you're talking about, my producer was just telling me about the severity of astigmatism. What's the cause of it?
Astigmatism most times is the way we're born. We're born with our cornea not being optimal on the 180 degrees. We have the power meridian, and then we have the axis meridian. So when you have astigmatism, you tend to do a head tilt. That's an adjustment mechanism to help you to put lines on a straight line instead of on a bent way.
It's
so
very
most of
interesting.
our errors come a component, myopia with component of astigmatism, hyperopia with a component of astigmatism.
It's interesting that you put it that way, because some people think that when they tilt their head, they are posing for pictures. But let me come to you, Dr. Ehekwaba. Tell us some of in the light of the World Optometry Day, what are the common mistakes we make in our day-to-day activities that lead to these eye conditions, covertly or overtly?
Thank you so much, Ayo. I just wanted to start by saying that, for instance, in classrooms, some of the children, they are sitting in front and they are still not seeing, and the whole class is echoing. So 5 times, it will now be 25. The teachers will assume that the child is seeing, but that child is not seeing. And what happens to such children? The first thing is self-confidence issue. The child feels that everybody else understands this thing. I don't know it. That's not true. And the next thing, they start scribbling or drawing. Disinterest happens, and it affects the total general performance of that child, not just academically. Where that person would have reached in life, it affects that. And come to think of it, you see, generally.
Oh dear. I was hoping we wouldn't get to that one, but hey, here we are.
Dr. Chibuzo, are you there?
Yes, I am.
For instance, if you want eye care practitioner can see, occurs when we are driving, like we have liaised a lot with, because somebody can have glaucoma, they don't know. Driving and their peripheral vision has gone. A lot of the accidents that come and we're experiencing and all that is because the drivers are not, seeing properly. So we look forward to a time in our system where we enforce the laws and rules that ensure that certain drivers are, is written on their, clearly written and stated on their driver's license that they need proper prescription to enable them to see clearly enough to drive. So in different settings, we could be doing some things like what we know as couching, when some persons have ocular disease conditions. I've heard all kinds of things, seen patients.
Well, it's an endless conversation, doctors, that we are having.
They go to borrow their eyes are ready.
Sincere apologies. We have totally run out of time, Dr. Ehekwaba. We have to thank you so much and look forward to activities from March 17 to March 23. Okay, well, I guess it started on Monday last week. Well, this week, and it will end tomorrow. Thank you so much for all that you do. Dr. Chibuzo of Clement George is chairperson, Nigerian Optometric Association, Rivers State Chapter, as well as Dr. Ezine Ehekwaba, chairperson, World Optometry Day Committee 2025, and member, Nigerian Optometric Association, Rivers State. Thank you so much for your time, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you, Ayo, for having us. It's a pleasure being here.
Okay, thank you so much. So, well, having spoken about World Optometry Day, you need eyes to watch TV and to attend somebody's show. But who is this fellow? More on that when we return from here.
I'm sure you have guessed who our artist of the week is.
No prize for guessing.
Akuidolo Oreva Ogene, better known as Forever. It's a name that is synonymous with laughter and plenty of it in Nigeria's comedy scene. I always tell all of them that, I mean, they're all mad. And guess what? They agree. You won't believe it.
In fact, one of them said that when one of them said when he was okay, he was not making money.
You see? You see what I mean? Oreva is a Delta-born comedian who traded the world of mechanical engineering. We've seen them all.
No, he's mechanizing. He said he's mechanizing comedy.
For the spotlight. He's a graduate of the Institute of Management and Technology in Enugu and has carved a niche for himself in the comedy industry with his unique brand of humor. Good morning.
Good morning, ma.
Forever.
Good morning, ma. Good morning, sir.
So when was the last time you
We are not comedians, so why are you laughing?
I'm just happy to be here.
When was the last time you had your eyes checked?
So when I was hearing those things, I was like, it's the grace of God I'm seeing you. Because I'm hearing names I've not heard before. You know, but at the point I was not like, you know, the last lady was saying a lot of accidents happen because the drivers don't properly see well.
Yes.
So I was just thinking, why don't these people partner with Federal Safety Corps so that before you get driver's license,
you do eye test.
do eye test for you.
Very
because
correct.
when you see the way some people drive, you know that truly this one is not seeing that he's going to kill himself somewhere. If they can see it, they will slow down. One man drove so bad, another man overtook him. He thought he was an armed robber. He said, no, I'm not an armed robber. I just came to advise you that if all of us drive like you won't get home alive. So you calm down. So I think they should find a way to work with Federal Safety so that before you get your driver's license, they check your eye. Then when they check your eye, they will now take you to psychiatric, check your brain to be sure that you are not mad. Because the way people drive,
but it's one thing to drive like
Forever.
that. Another thing that seeking does is this whole unfortunate. In fact, one guest we had yesterday, Alero, said that the fire situation in different parts of the country is now like some live Christmas crackers. so tankers just pop here, pop there.
If it's not gas, it is petrol. You know?
Is this the same way comedy pops up all over the nation?
Yeah, comedy is popping up all over the nation because, and this is the best time Nigerians should even laugh because I don't think Nigerians globally everybody should laugh more now because the world is tough everywhere. Yeah, so there's no safe space. If you run to this place, when a lot of my friends, some people are relocated to the UK, some want to come back.
They want to jackpot.
I say, why? He say, bro, the grass is not green on the other side.
At all.
It's just cold on this side. The grass is cold on that side. It's not greener. So we want to come back to the country where our flag is green. So let's know that the green at hand is a green at hand. So basically, comedy is popping up everywhere because people are tired. People are looking for happiness. People are looking for what will make them happy and
Forever.
So,
mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
Tell us your story. How did you end up here?
I feel that this was where I was meant to be.
So why did you go and study mechanical engineering?
That was what my parents wanted me to be. So.
So when you finished, Mama, Papa, make una take.
No, so but even at the time, so I feel that a lot of things worked for me being a mechanical engineering student. And one of the faults was my guidance and counselors. I don't even if they still have guidance counselors in secondary schools. But when I was in secondary school, you know, after your SS2 first term, they now put you in either art or science class.
Yes.
So they use your results to check where you would fit in. So the assumption then was if you scored high in mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology,
science,
you would automatically become a science student. Now, my challenge was I was intelligent, so I scored high in all of them. Maths, English, chemistry, biology, geography, economics, literature, and the rest of them. So they just assumed that this guy...
do well in government.
Yes.
That's for politicians. Oh, okay, sorry.
No, that's not for politicians. That's what they taught us in school. That's So these guys just assume that this guy is too intelligent to be in art class. So they never really questioned us, what do you want to be in life? They just checked the result. He scored high in physics, chemistry, biology. Science. And they put me in science. But I also scored high in literature. They didn't ask if I wanted to be here. So as a young boy now, young chap, every time you read, you understand. They bring exam, you score high. So it was just walking in line that this guy, intelligent guy. So I now asked, this science class they put me, where will it lead me to? They say either a doctor or an engineer. I said I don't like blood. So that's how I moved to engineering. So that was how I got into university. I was scoring high. So everybody asking that, the next Isaac Newton, did you know that I'm the old one, nothing new is coming out of this Isaac. But there was Isaac laughter. So the next Isaac, I gave the Newton, I head on to the Isaac to bring forth laughter as a comedian. So, but when I was in school, I was doing comedy part-time. And I realized that I was enjoying it, and it was more or less what I really wanted to do. So it was very natural for me to continue in that part. So that is how I found myself here. So my certificate is at home. In case of when people say you didn't go to school, I say, Siam.
I go.
Mm-hmm. This is my proof. So that was how I found myself as a mechanical engineering student, and today I'm telling jokes.
Mechanical engineering students.
Oh, yes, no,
mechanical engineering graduates.
Yes. Yes.
Graduates.
You know, when she said, when he said he chose mechanical engineering because he didn't like blood. I remember a friend of mine who is a hematologist.
Oh dear.
And does not like blood.
How come? And he's a hematologist.
When you see it, ask it.
What did he think hematology was?
When you see it.
He probably just liked the name.
No.
I like to be one.
Oreva.
Yeah.
Comedy is it's a big thing in Nigeria now.
Yes.
Some would say that the space is oversaturated. Would you say it is?
I feel we're not enough because the comedians that we have cannot entirely serve the population of Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
So I think we're using Lagos to judge the whole of the country because most of the media is here in Lagos. There are not enough comedians in Adamawa. There are not enough.
Are there enough events in Adamawa to warrant?
I feel
more?
If there are people who believe they can do these things, it will create the drive for it, because people don't know that they like comedy until they see a comedian perform. That is what I believe. So people will tell you that it's oversaturated. Like I explained to somebody one day, say, I'm trending on Twitter. I said, no, go and check. Sometimes when something is trending on Twitter, X will show you that 7,000 people have engaged in this conversation. I say, so you're calling what 7,000 people engaged as trend? So you think you are famous? This country is over 200 million. So if you divide the percentage of people who know about what is happening to you right now, you are famous for a few seconds. So with that, I'm trying to say that we are using Lagos as the case studies. There are a lot of comedians in Lagos. But other states, other species, we don't. So we need more comedians to come on board. Because
so on the one hand, my apologies.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it's a valid thing what you said, and you're saying essentially that the comedy industry, because when we say entertainment industry, it includes the adult economy, but on the entertainment industry, the comedy segment is thriving and everything. I'll ask you a question about events, comedy events over the years. But let's talk about the what you said about it not being as popular as it should be in different parts of the country. What do we need to take it around? The economy, people are moving away from even Delta, where I can call the headquarters of comedy. The Niger Delta, which I can call the headquarters of comedy, to Lagos. So what needs to give for this thing to spread the way you have it in mind?
So number one, it's the media, and I would say the financial economy. So the financial economy, the financial power of Lagos can compete with other countries. So when I was in Enugu, for example, when I want to do shows, when they say we need sponsors, I would need to write a proposal to a company in Enugu, and they would need to send that proposal to Lagos
headquarters
to be approved and sent back to Enugu. By the time they are sending to and fro, show have finished.
I know.
The show have passed. And then you start hearing stuff like, oh, but they're not going to respond from that. I understand. Because Lagos to Enugu is far by road. Without traffic, it's 6 hours.
Oh, the letter
it's
walked.
8 hours. Sometimes the letters trek. And then, so the major reason why a lot of people move to Lagos is not because Lagos is the only place that they can express their talents, but it is one place where the eye of the world can easily focus on them because of the strength of the media here. Also, there is a tendency that you make at least 2 times more financially than you will make if you were somewhere else.
Because of the economy of Lagos.
Because of the economy of Lagos.
Yes.
So it is now, so for these things to work in other states, I think there has to be an environment, a thriving environment for entertainment. For example, you come to Lagos, if you want to do a show, you would, there are certain venues that is synonymous with shows. In other states, all venues are wedding halls. So if you want to do a show now, you have to change that wedding hall into a comedy center. So they don't care about you. Enter a hall, you see POP everywhere. That means that comedian will spend 3 times the amount he's going to spend on sound in Lagos there. Because in Lagos, the hall already has acoustics. So if you want to spend like $1 million on sound here, to kill the reverb that will come, the echo that will come from that POP somewhere in the east, you have to spend money to hire subwoofers. So the guy is spending more money to do that show. In Lagos, somebody
he cannot charge
the kind of ticket fee in Lagos.
Yeah.
So in Lagos, somebody can pay 10,000 naira for ticket. You put 10,000 for ticket somewhere in Obolafo that somebody have not finished eating. Is it to laugh? Somebody now be asking, is that expensive? It is to laugh.
And you tell them
They will not be priced. So how much is cry? So if laugh is 10, if laugh is 10, how much then is cry? Hey, cry 750. Oh yeah, give me cry. So basically, we need a thriving environment.
Okay.
For these guys.
Let's talk about this a little further,
Yeah.
and we'll take it to your upcoming event. When people talk about comedy shows in Nigeria, their hearts and minds will go to the Night of 1,000 Laughs.
Yeah.
But that wasn't even the precursor. John Chukwu era was milestone for that. There was MC Basket Mouth.
Yeah.
Those were events that, and even in the days of John Chukwu, there were precursors. There were sitcoms on television and all those things. But talking about the events, maybe I should ask you this. Why is laughter important? And why is it important for people to pay for laughter?
Okay, so laughter is important because it's core for humanity. Research has shown that people who are happy tend to live longer. And they say people who smile more, they don't grow old quick. They have less wrinkles in their face. And when somebody generally has a good mood, if you start the day on a good mood, your day practically just follows that mood. So, and the reason people pay for laughter is because sadness is more expensive. It's the honest truth.
Is it?
Yes.
How so?
Because when you are sad, you can destroy everything around you. And by the time you come back to your senses, you've destroyed everything. So it's easy to be happy. It's easier to be happy than the consequences of being sad cannot be measured. That's how I'm going to put it. So, but practically, the reason we charge for shows is value. When you give people free things like that, they will not really value it. It's a global principle. When you give people free things, they don't value it. If you give somebody a free car, and I can say, nah, this one even say give me and he got that car. But if the person paid for it, you go and do testimony just say, man, God has blessed me with a brand new car. But when you gift the person the car, it's an issue.
Okay, I am ChatGPT just helped you.
Yeah.
I said, please connect laughter to good health and healing. It says physical benefits, stress reduction, improved cardiovascular health, boosted immunity, muscle relaxation. Are you aware? Is this the real reason you went to do mechanical engineering?
Like I said, it's my guidance and counselor team that put me in science class. I did not ask her to put me there.
But it seems to be working now. Now, talking about, your events, you are one of the few who make, milestone events.
Yeah.
Alibaba, your boy or your colleague now, Kenny Black, and the rest of them like that. Tell us how your shows, the trajectory of your shows over the past few, let's say just 2 years.
Okay, so for me, basically, I don't do shows until I have new jokes to tell, which is the way it's supposed to be.
Oh, it's not an annual...
No, so I don't do annual shows. I do shows when I have new jokes to tell. But many people don't understand it. It's just like a musician. A musician cannot release an album until he has new songs. So
Yinka Efele is one a year.
And that's why they call it single. It's not album. It's single. It's just that the single is long. So the single is longer than some album because this generation now, before you close the album, the song are finished. There's one artist that sang song 2 minutes long. He now featured 4 people for the remix. The remix now changed to 1 minute 52 seconds. I was not like, wait, 4 people added to this song. The time reduced. What happened? Were they just sneezing or what? So for me, my shows are targeted. I don't think it's just enough for me to use my talent to make people laugh. I believe that while they're laughing, they can learn a few things, a few mindsets can change. So my first show was in 2018. I called that one Forever Funny. And then I did another one in 2019. I called it Forever Funny again. Then I didn't do any other shows until 2022, where I did Changed World. So that year I was focused on how the world has changed
after COVID.
Yes, and also one major target for that show was that men were not celebrated, so we needed men to be celebrated. So I did a lot of jokes about showing how men were pushed to the back. That we had a lot of Mother's Day in a year, Women's Month. It was not Women's Day. The whole of March is Women's Month, but men have one International Men's Day, which is November 19th. And unfortunately for us as men, November 19th is also World International Toilet Day. You can Google it. So even men, the day they gave to us, they added us to toilet.
No, it's for good reason. When you want to escape.
And so that's why I told him, I said, so you people should, when you are wondering, what is my husband doing in toilet for so long? We are celebrating our day. So then in 2023, I did my other one, stereotypes. So I was trying to change the ideas of stereotypes. You know, you hear stuff like all men cheat. I said, no, not all men cheat. Stereotypes. So my shows basically is not just only about laughter. You have to attend to certain things. So then this year, I'm doing another one called No Safe Space.
Because of those who are not having safe space in other parts of the world?
No, because the world has become so sensitive. So, you know, when you want to say certain things, you ask somebody, is this a safe space to say what I want to say? So the idea for No Safe Spaces, there are things I want to talk about that I don't need your permission to say. So I'm not going to ask you, is this a safe space to say it? For you to already be at the show, you know, it's a no safe space. So I'm going to say it.
So there are some things you cannot say in the National Assembly.
Yes, but I will say my personal assembly. So which is why this is
we're running out of time, Oreva. And now I understand you have a show coming up.
Yes.
Quickly tell us about it.
So my show is coming up on Sunday, March 30th at the Moson Center. The show is called No Safe Space, 6 p.m. Okay. For those of you who've attended my shows before, you know 6 p.m. is 6 p.m. I don't start late. And I close very early so that you can go back home and get to work the following day. So the tickets sell for Regular is 10,000.
You see that one, that ticket,
Yeah.
you will pay, you will send you invoice.
You will send invoice.
Yeah.
But I will owe you. I'm saying it just so that nobody will say, when you drive that Forever has not paid, but he said he will owe you. He said it on air. He said, I will owe you.
For how long?
This now, Beju.
Only God knows.
No. I know. He will owe us forever.
That's his name.
He will owe us forever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. So we are expecting to hear new jokes because you say that you only have shows when you have new jokes to
so
tell.
Every joke I'm going to say at this show, nobody in this country has said it.
Okay. And what date is it?
March 30th.
March
Sunday.
30th. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you all the best on March the 30th.
Thank you very
Mechanical engineer.
Turn comedian.
No, since engineers have engineer forever, what do comedians have?
Comedian.
Okay, go and legislate it. When you legislate.
No, that's why if you check my Instagram handle, it's Forever CFR. That CFR means Comedian Federal
of the
Republic.
Federal Republic.
Yes.
Right. Okay, then we wish you all the best on Sunday, Oreva. And thank you very much for coming on Sunrise this morning. And you at home, thank you very much for having spent your Saturday morning with us. For many of you, as usual. Thank you very much for keeping the faith. I'm Alero Edu, wishing you all the best till we meet next week.
So I'm going to check the container after this conversation. Am I Makinde? Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
She was taking the election at AMPA. You know, another problem she had was that Oga's name. You know, when you see